That is not surveillance equipment.
No, my dear. It's this whole bloody operation.
What is happening, Nerd Detectives? Welcome to another episode, Nerds at Night. And as usual, if you're watching this, then you know we're talking all about
Details matter.
So before the last 3 episodes, I wanted us to come together and start to think outside the box about anything we might have missed. And I want to run through some theories that have sort of been on my mind. And I want to get them out there because they could pop up in the next 3 episodes. They could happen never, or something similar to them could happen. Or one of the theories that I come up with, you guys get to tag along to it and it ends up being the right thing. So I just want us to dig into stuff that we haven't dug into too much and drop all the crazy theories that have been going on in my mind as we go into episode 8. And again, even if we're wrong, even if I'm wrong, I just want to see if some of the loose dots can connect to something down the line. Theory number 1 is sort of an amalgamation of a bunch of comments that you guys have sent in. But this one is basically Imogene's mom and Keith's murder, the whole Viktor Sams thing, are 2 unrelated things, right? Now, let's keep this in mind as we go through the rest of the theories, because this one really has a part to play in my new guess of who Viktor Sams might be. Theory number 2 is Catherine has been paying blackmail, not Lawrence, not any of the Colliers, strictly just her.
Lawrence Collier has never paid blackmail. Lawrence Collier has nothing to hide.
Lie.
You're not hearing me.
But why, though, right? Is it the caption in blue stuff? And if that was the case, wouldn't it be on Lawrence? Wouldn't it be on the rest of the company? Or is it something more personal? Is it a personal issue that she doesn't want to get out and she's using either money from Collier Mills or her own money to funnel it and go ahead and pay blackmail to Viktor Sams? Third theory is there is a twin among us. Let's think back to episode 3, right? And it had this whole notion, this whole thing of like twins. There was twins on Grandma Chun's little soap opera. There was, Jules as a twin. And even when you look back in Keith's room, there's 2 green shirts in his room. That's kind of strange. And my theory in line with twins is, what if Kira's mom is twin sister to Hildy? Now, obviously, we all know about the whole IMDb, there's not an actress for Imogene's mom, and also the actress that plays Hildy. She's listed on all 10 episodes of the season. So I don't know. It could be the same thing. It could be they're just throwing us for a loop. It could be that, there's some CGI going on with her face. They're just sort of using that actor as a stand-in. And this theory is it falls apart because obviously there's been no mention of Kira having a sister or, Imogene having an aunt. Will it come up? Will it be a thing? And the writers have just been hiding it from us? But even if this isn't the case, I want you to ask yourself, which one of these characters that we've met along the way could realistically have a twin that still falls into play with everything and makes sense, right? Because I do think the twin action, it's going to come into play somehow. Theory number 4 is, who is Imogene's dad? Now, that's a question, not much of a theory, but my theory is it Keith? A lot of us have speculated if her dad is Lawrence or if it's Llewellyn. And to go deeper with that, right, we hear Lawrence say that he doesn't cheat on his wife. He's very faithful. And we hear Llewellyn essentially say he tried to shoot a shot. We hear a lot of people say, she really didn't give him the time of day.
The lawyer? She didn't give him the time of day.
So let's just believe them. Let's just take them at their word for 1 second, right? What if her real father is Danny and it's hinted at us in a small way because he was the one who wanted to pursue the case all the way, right?
I thought Danny was the one that wanted to solve the case.
You forget we haven't met you yet.
I say all that, and this is a bit of a newer and weaker theory that I've sort of come up with, but it would add some weight and validity to his death. It would add some emotional, dramatic impact. Not that we need it, but it would add sort of oh my God, that was my dad. My dad was dead. Oh my God. Remember when me and my dad had that interaction and I stole the key card to his room and I stole money from him? That would add a little bit more zest in there. You know what I mean? So again, there's not a whole bunch of evidence backing this, but there are a few breadcrumbs that could point that way. Now, additionally, since we're on the parent train, there's the hot theory, right, going around that Kira is Hildy. They're the same person. She, didn't blow up. She faked her death. I'm not opposed to this, actually. Hildy could be Kira. Kira could be Hildy.
Einhorn is Finkel. Finkel is Einhorn.
Some of y'all will get that reference. This is interesting. It's interesting to think about because this is made even more suspicious when you see sort of like this business truck leaving the explosion scene of the crime, right? It's leaving. And so it begs the question, like, well, maybe when Imogene got out of the car and she had her back turned, maybe Kira got out, got into that other car. And as that drove off, you know, her car explodes. She's not in it. And she has to take off to, you know, maybe protect herself because she fears, because she thinks her life is in danger, and then becomes, an agent of Interpol. That's her new life, right? Like trying to serve justice when she wasn't in a position to originally, and sort of had the door closed in on her face when she tried to go through the legal system. And they never do mention finding a body. And additionally, this truck is referenced in Imogene's mental chase with her younger self. She's seen coming out of it. Every detail counts. That has to mean something. And does it mean exactly what we're seeing, what we're all thinking it means? That perhaps that was the getaway vehicle for Kira and she avoided the explosion the whole time. The crazy thing is about this theory is nobody's approached Hildy and been like, you kind of look like Kira, except you got blonde hair. Like nobody said that. Nobody said, oh, you got striking features. You look familiar. Like nobody said that. And again, maybe Llewellyn said that to Hildy behind closed doors. We don't know all the interaction, what happened besides him getting lit on fire. But I do think it's strange that just because you change your hair that like nobody can recognize you. It's the whole Superman with glasses type thing. Like, bro, you really not gonna recognize somebody just because they got glasses or just because they got blonde hair? Like, I don't know, man. That seems kind of sus. And this next bit of theory sort of rides the coattails of the previous theory we're just talking about with Imogene's mom. Because whether Kira is Hildy or whether Kira is actually dead, I have a suspicious theory that what if Miss Collier is Imogene's mom? Now, hear me out. What if Imogene's dad is the polo player that proposed to Miss Collier?
Because Mrs. Collier keeps her first engagement ring in there. You know, the one she got from that polo player.
They brought up that story, I mean, only twice, but like she's still hanging on to the ring. Does she still think about him? To reference this point that Lawrence made here.
I'm the latter. I love my wife. I always have.
What if the inverse of that is Miss Collier, she's cheating on her husband now? What if she's been cheating on her husband before? In this theory, that could make sense that Imogene is sort of this affair child, and Kira being, the assistant for the Colliers, they're like, hey, we need you to, raise her because it's sort of Scandi over here and we can't deal with that. That would be interesting. That's a big secret. Is that a big enough secret to blackmail someone over? I don't really know, but that seems spicy, right? My final theory right here is Sunil is Viktor Sams. Again, hear me out. I know I've really been leading the charge on Father Toby being Viktor Sams, but let's go back to episode 1 real quick. In that episode, we see somebody monitoring security footage from a room, and it's got a painting behind it. We just see a hand, we see a computer. We don't know who this is. We don't know where this is, but if somebody's going to have access to a strange office, maybe somewhere in the boat, and we don't know if it's the boat, but like maybe have access to something like that, why would it not make sense that Sunil has access to that? Like that was immediately what I thought in the first episode or two. I'm like, oh, he's been the one watching, right? It's him. And we obviously know that Viktor Sams is into technology stuff, right? He's ruined the life of the NSA agent who went to snitch to Layla. We assume that he was the one who attacked her car. And then we also hear about another potential cyber attack to a friend of Rufus and Danny's.
Mick brings in cyber forensics, nosebleed expensive. They can't find this crew. All they've got is a name. The blackmailer.
Viktor Sams.
Additionally, with Sunil, we only know stories from his point of view, right? And so the stories that we've heard are the ones where it's how he met Jules, right? With the whole like bunch of little thuggery in the alley, and he almost got robbed, and Jules come and save the day, Superman's him, you know what I mean? Like, and everything's good. Additionally, we hear the side of the story from Sunil when a representative of Viktor Sams comes and approaches him, and he's like, hey man, you gonna take this deal? You either take this deal or you don't. Here's what it comes with. because I know you need the money to build the ship. But what if he's not telling us a true story? Like, what if those went a completely different way? We've not heard Jules' side of things, and I don't think we're going to hear from that other Viktor Sams dude. So, like, we're taking him for his word. And, like, for somebody that's worked with Viktor Sams, like, why all of a sudden you want to tell the truth now? Like, you could be, but why all of a sudden you want to? And while he seems like a good guy and he did help Imogene with the bill of lading, technically, that's still in his control. Like, it's not with him, but it's with somebody that is an associate of his, a friend of his, you know, in one way, shape, or form or another. He could always go back and be like, hey, homegirl, need that paperwork. He has control of it. Whether this person works for him, with him, is actually a friend, whatever, versus it's not in Imogene's control right now. It's still in his control. And that could be used as evidence against the Colliers. Additionally, there's this comment right here.
Kira was the best assistant I ever had. This new Ivy Leaguer they sent me, he's a disaster.
Now, I don't know a lot about Sanel, but he do seem like a type of dude that would be an Ivy League type of guy. And 20 years ago would fit the mark of him being in college, because assuming he's somewhere between 38, 42, that sort of fits his age. Let's pretend he's an Ivy Leaguer who was the assistant. Did he figure out what the Colliers were doing with Caption in Blue? And did he begin to use that info against them and blackmail them? Is this ship really funded by, like, Viktor Sams the way Sanel says it is? Or is this ship funded by blackmail dollars from the Colliers? How ironic would that be?
A little too ironic.
He just may be a tremendous liar. And he might be fooling all of us. Also, on this last note, we don't see him use technology much, but maybe they're saving that for the next 3 episodes. So just be on the lookout for that, right? Like, it would make it a little sus if you're like, oh, this person is using some technology. So, like, Viktor Sams uses technology. So maybe they're, you know, but maybe they've been really saving this hint and they're going to drop it in the last 3 episodes. And we're going to be like, oh my goodness. Like, they're the whole time. It's right in front, like maybe like Llewellyn said, it's right in front of your face, because no matter where you look on the ship, like, the ship is funded by blackmail dollars. They were all funneled down to Sanel from Catherine Collier. So again, there's a bunch of crazy theories. I wanted to get them out there for y'all because I know we're having a lot of fun with this show, and try to get them out there before the last 3 episodes, because we only, it's sad because we only got 2 more weeks, because they're going to drop episode 8 by itself. And then they're going to drop episode 9 and 10. So those 2, you know, will be all together. That's going to be a lot for me to break down, but I am up for the challenge. But I hope y'all enjoyed this. Did y'all think of some of these theories? Do y'all have any crazy theories of yourself? And a lot of these, I will say, shout outs to all of y'all, because I've compiled these thoughts by interacting and commenting with y'all, reading y'all's comments. So I appreciate all of y'all for all the time that you take to come on and just have a fun time with me. Let's keep that rolling. Let me hear from y'all. Drop a crazy comment, or just drop the name of the person that you think has to be Viktor Sams and the name of the person that you think did for sure off Imogene's mom. Let me know what you think. Again, shouts to y'all, because without y'all, there is no me. So I do appreciate y'all for all the likes, the views, the comments, everything you do. Be sure to tune in, like always, on Wednesday morning, and we'll have a new episode up breaking down the latest episode of Death and Other Details. And in the meantime, if you can't get enough murder mystery, feel free to check out Nerds at Night. I've got a whole bunch of murder mystery breakdowns, so hopefully that'll tide you over until the next episode. If you want to follow me on any social media, feel free to follow me, Muddy Blakeweather, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. I'm on all the places. If you haven't already told a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend about us, feel free to tell them, so that way we can all be friends. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, whether it's morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time it is. I always appreciate you. And until the next episode, I will see ya. Peace.